How's it going, guys? One of you will have to jump in the chat and let me know what this microphone sounds like, because last time I did the live show, the audio was totally screwed up. I recently watched this newer Bigfoot documentary on Tubi TV. I think it was called Hunting Bigfoot. And it's not specifically about Bigfoot itself. It's about a guy who goes out looking for Bigfoot. And it was kind of eye-opening. Like, this guy totally lost everything in his life, it seemed. And like, Bigfoot was all he had, and he would just live wherever. He would kind of float around and go looking for a Bigfoot. And he had a documentary crew following him around, and they made him look kind of crazy. I kind of feel bad for the guy, but go watch this film, Hunting Bigfoot, on Tubi. It's free, and it's just interesting. It's more of a look into, I guess, the psychology of the Bigfoot topic, and what it's like for people to go out and do this stuff, and then what it's like to, I guess, know what people think of you, kind of like people who aren't into it. Because that's something I think about a lot. It's like, what do people think of me, when I'm out doing this stuff, making these videos and just talking about Bigfoot all the time? They probably think it's weird. But I highly recommend checking that out. Okay, we have some comments now. People from around the world. Australia. Got a few from Australia in here. Ontario. I hope you guys are all doing well today. It is Thursday. It is 28 degrees in my apartment right now, so I am dying. And I'm guessing by the end of this live stream, my t-shirt is going to be soaking wet. So I would have the AC on, but it's pretty loud. Oh, Matt's from Edmonton. Me too. And if you guys have any questions throughout the live stream, just let me know. Ask away. That's why we're here. I'm only going to be going for about an hour tonight. So if you guys have any questions, get them in. Will says, how's the UFOs going? The UFO thing is crazy. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. I knew there was going to be UFO questions. And so I would say probably 90% of the times I go outside to look for these things and to film them, I get something on camera, something weird. And so I had posted a few videos on my channel. I didn't really make any descriptions or talk about them. They weren't even intended to be public. I was just going to leave them as unlisted, but I ended up making them public so I could read your guys' comments. But I am working on a film, a feature-length documentary about this stuff. And there's so much more footage that I haven't even posted yet that is very weird. And it keeps getting weirder. So I don't know what's happening. It's an interesting thing. It's spending all this time looking for Bigfoot, making Bigfoot videos, just investing my whole life basically into that. And then this stuff happens. And then I don't know if anybody here wants to even see it. It's weird because on this channel, when I start to drift away from the Bigfoot topic, a lot of people get kind of fussy about it, which is weird. This is my YouTube channel. You don't have to be here. But I feel like I should be posting this stuff for people to see. People need to see this. This is crazy stuff going on. I don't know. I think it's crazy. I think it's interesting. So, all right. Is the audio good? Somebody want to let me know if it's not terrible like it was the last time? When will you go on another expedition? Literally, my next trip out into the bush is going to be an expedition, and I'm making Expedition Sasquatch 5. And that'll be within a week or two. So it's coming. It's coming quick. Audio is good. Perfect. Yeah, I listened to that live stream, the first one on my birthday, afterwards, and I was shocked at how awful the audio was. It was very embarrassing for me. Mel says, hey, Squatch Master. Oh, I'm not going to call myself that in my day-to-day life. There's a comment here. Let's face it, dude. The UFO thing and Squatch has had a connection many times. It's possible. A lot of people speculate that Sasquatch is related to the UFO phenomena, and it's something that's really hard to prove. But a lot of times when you're out in the bush and you have weird experiences, there is a mystical like feel to it that almost seems supernatural. But is that actually what's going on, or is it you just kind of interpreting these weird things that way? I have no idea. Um, yeah. What is your opinion on the reason why there's very little new videos? I'm assuming videos of Bigfoot. I don't know because they're rare. It's hard enough to see Bigfoot, but to see Bigfoot with a camera, and to also see Bigfoot with a camera and have it running and properly set up to film something, like the stars basically have to align for that to go down. Yeah, in my last video that I uploaded yesterday or this morning, I think it came out this morning. I talk about going out into the bush with more low tech equipment instead of all this digital stuff that's emitting all this like all these signals and whatnot. I think it might be worth trying going out into the bush with like film cameras and like 16 millimeter Super 8 film cameras, cinema cameras, and things of that nature. I think it would be way less invasive, and if they can pick up on this stuff, then that's perfect, right? Like motion picture film is good quality. It's just the Super 8 stuff can be, if you don't get a good scan of it, the Super 8 can look pretty crappy. But 16 mil would be perfect. They still shoot like certain TV shows on 16 mil, and lots of movies are still filmed on that. Lots of indie movies. Okay, I gotta go through these questions here. I'll probably miss a bunch of questions, so I'm sorry. If you want to like enter your question in a couple times as this stream goes on, go for it. Realize as Bigfoot researchers need to go to a good spot and just chill for a month instead of a couple day thing. And that is true. That is true. A Bigfoot researcher needs to have the backing, the support in many different ways to be able to go do that. Like I'm lucky now, like I can sustain myself for that long making Bigfoot videos. And like that's what we're going to be doing near the end of the summer here with the Land Rover. We're going to be going out for a long time. And it's going to be scary. But I feel like I agree with that. Like I feel like that's what has to be done. Because it really doesn't seem like you could go to a place for 2 or 3 days and nothing will happen. It always seems like after the 4th day or the 5th day, like that's when stuff happens. They get used to you being there. They get more comfortable with you, and they, I guess, gain the courage to approach you and do weird things. What advice would you give someone who wants to go out squatching for the first time but has no real experience in the woods? I would find friends first that do have experience and go out with some friends, or like I don't know how they would react to the Bigfoot thing, but I would try and track down someone who's a friend and would be willing to, explore this weird world of Bigfoot. Um, and if you need information on like backcountry camping and hiking, or like even just doing day hikes, starting off doing day hikes, that's probably the best way to do it. There's a lot of information online, a lot of information, and like in whatever town you're in, whatever city, there's probably a Facebook group of like outdoor enthusiasts and hikers who'd be willing to, show you what to do. Maybe don't go out looking for Bigfoot right away in the bush. Maybe just go out on some hikes with some people and get a feel for it, see if you like it, and then, go out into the woods, try and find some like budget recording gear. Don't go like too crazy. I'd buy like a used camera or something and a used audio recorder just to have something in case you do see something. And yeah, you don't have to go hard right off the start. Just kind of ease yourself into it, and just be careful, because if you get sucked into this world of Bigfoot, I mean, you may never come out of it. You may get obsessed, like the guy in this hunting Bigfoot documentary. It'll become your whole life, and it might ruin your life. So think about those things. You should do more research on juvenile Sasquatches. We don't hear about that enough. That is true, and yeah, I know. I feel like when I was filming Wildman, My Search for Sasquatch, on the second part of the film, where me and my buddies went out to the Nordic area and we had those handprints show up on the car window and we found what looked like Sasquatch tracks. I feel like if that was Sasquatch, it was a juvenile, just obviously based on the size of the handprints and the tracks. So They seem to be curious and playful in nature, and when you leave your camp, they'll come around and do stuff. Um, that's kind of what it felt like, anyways. It felt like for sure there was a juvenile Sasquatch or multiple of them around when we were filming that, and that's just how I felt. And the people who were with me, like my friend Curtis, who's in that film, he wasn't really sure at all about like Bigfoot being real. He was really on the fence about it, and by the end of that trip, I could tell he was very intrigued. So, okay. I personally think, Justin, the more that technology advances, so too will be further disclosure from the governments. I hope so. I hope so. It's interesting what's going on with the UFO phenomena. With the UFO phenomena, like in the last couple of years, it's been like talked about quite a bit. Like you got these Air Force guys coming out with footage saying that they're seeing these craft, and then we're having like it's I think just the other day I saw something saying that the government has been actively like searching for UFOs and investigating them. And I mean, we knew that stuff already. We know about like Project Blue Book and all that. But now they're kind of coming clean about it, which is weird. It seems like they must have some sort of weird motive as to why they're doing that. It must be beneficial to them for some reason, or they want us to think a certain thing about like UFOs or about extraterrestrials. They probably want us to think that they're like very dangerous and a threat, which is not the vibe I get, especially when I'm out here. Like the first time I had stuff happen out here, I was freaked out because of how unusual and alarming it was. I didn't get the sense that they were like evil and wanted to abduct me, but I had the thought of abduction in my mind because that's what I knew about aliens. But at this point, I'm not really scared. I go out like every night and I sit out there for like an hour and a half. And for the most part, things go down and I see really weird stuff in the sky. And there's also been very strange, like human built aircraft too flying around like more often than way more often than usual. The other night, this one airplane flew directly over my building like 15 times and I filmed it like every single time. And it was weird. But that'll be in the film that I'm making right now. Maybe the military does drone testing or something with everything going on in the world. Well, yeah, they do. They have to test pretty much every aircraft that they come up with. So, hey, Justin, have you had the hitchhiker phenomenon happen yet? Are you aware of what that is? No, I'm not, John, but you have to explain it now so I can answer this question. Oh, there's so many comments. This is going to be tricky. Now I lost the one I just read. Hold on a sec. Here we go. Okay, we're waiting for an answer on that. Let's go to a different question. Do you carry a personal locator beacon with you when you go out? I do. I bought a Zoleo satellite beacon thing. So it's got the SOS function. So if I hit the SOS button, like search and rescue will come. I can also use it to send texts to like any of my contacts. And there's also like a tracking feature. So if I give a internet link to whoever, they can click it and then they could look at my location on a map and like watch my position move. I think it can update it like every 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. It's a pretty handy feature just to, so that family doesn't lose their minds when I'm out there like doing this stuff. They don't have to worry. Oh, Justin from Alberta here. He's a kind of part of our group here. Come with Keenan and I'll show you a good spot. I'm very intrigued. Dude, where you are in this province, I know that there's weird stuff going on for sure. Thoughts about the idea that the national park system and the national forest system is actually established in part to protect them? It's possible. I mean, they're there to protect everything else out there. So if Bigfoot's out there, I would hope that they would be protecting them. But I don't know about specifically. They want to manage the land out there and they want to protect the land, and they got to manage all like the busloads of people going through there destroying the place. So, oh, thanks, Cameron, for the donation. That's very nice of you. He says he's followed Dr. Melba Ketchum's research regarding Sasquatch DNA, or have I followed it? I haven't actually, like, okay, this is believe it or not, this is the one thing that for some reason, I keep avoiding looking into, and I don't know why. I think it's because I've heard so much back and forth on the Melba Ketchum stuff that I don't even want to look at it. But I should. Maybe I will. I'll make a video about it and see and I'll let you know what I think. Um, I have no idea what to even say to that. Why not wear a Bigfoot suit? What's wrong with that? He wants to make contact with Bigfoot. Oh, dude. I don't have a death wish. You know? People are asking where my next expedition is. It's going to be out in the Nordegg area, Nordegg, Alberta. That's like my favorite area in the province. There's a lot of stories about Bigfoot. Like, just go on Google and search Nordegg Bigfoot. You'll probably find a whole bunch of stuff. And Nordegg, coincidentally, is also apparently a UFO hotspot. I find that very interesting. But I wonder, like, when you go out into the wilderness, if you're camping, you're automatically at night, if it's a clear sky, going to be looking at the sky more often than if you're in the city doing stuff. So is it a hotspot, or is it just that more people are actually looking up and having clear skies? You know, there's no light pollution out there. What's your opinion on Expedition Bigfoot? I watched the first season, and I think I'm halfway through the second season. It's better than that Alaska Killer Bigfoot. That show's terrible. I don't like ripping into like other programs on Bigfoot, but that Alaskan Killer Bigfoot thing was real stupid. Like with TV shows I don't know, they're entertainment. And from personal experience dealing with like TV producers and the process of trying to get a show, I don't know if you guys can hear the sirens, but there's sirens going on. The process of getting a TV show greenlit and actually produced is real terrible. Like, it's awful, and like the people that you deal with sound so sketchy, and like it's a lot of flip-flopping and back and forth. And for the most part, I had always just been like, I need some sort of creative control in whatever the show is. Like, I am very protective of my image and like my credibility. And I usually always say that, and then the shows never get picked up. So, and I was making them Expedition Sasquatch films, and we had sent a show idea to Travel Channel, and then they turned it down and made Expedition Bigfoot. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know if it's related or not, but all right. Do you ever place trail cameras back to back on a tree? I think you remember saying you would do that. I haven't ever got around to doing that. No, I actually stopped putting trail cameras up altogether. The last time I put a trail camera up was when I set it up. I think it was when I set it up at one of the tree structures, and it was when it actually came down, and it didn't record the tree falling, the actual tree structure. The whole structure came down at some point, and the camera was facing the tree structure, and there's a whole bunch of clips. And like there should be a clip there of this tree structure coming down, but it never did come down. So yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know what happened there. I figure it's probably the wind, because in some clips it is windy and the trees are really moving. So considering the expansive geographical areas Sasquatch have, it's incredible they are found not far out of urban areas. It is. I'm actually surprised by that. When I was filming Supernatural Sasquatch, the guy was having activity like 30 minutes out of Edmonton. I mean, he lived on an acreage, and the North Saskatchewan River, I think it was 9 kilometers or something, in proximity to his property. Like, it at the closest point to his property. We think they use the riverways, like the North Saskatchewan River, to move around, especially in the winter. Ken Walker, the taxidermist, believes in the winter that they actually hide out on the islands on the North Saskatchewan River. So that could be worth looking into, but I do know that in the winter, like the ice flows and the ice chunks and stuff along the North Saskatchewan could be pretty sketchy. There could be like things that look like ice bridges, and you could step on it and it could break, and you could like twist your ankle up pretty bad. That happened to my mom like a couple years ago. She got really, really hurt. How fast do you think a Bigfoot can run? I have no idea. really fast. Mel gives a $5 donation. Thank you, dude. Or woman. Mel can be a guy's or a girl's name, like Mel Gibson or Melanie. Let's see. Are you talking about the Hunting Bigfoot movie, Nate? Which movie are you talking about? Or are people talking about this Letters from the Big Man? That I have not seen. I still haven't seen every Bigfoot movie. There's a bunch of them I've seen. I saw one, it was like an animated one, and it was like the main character, or the Bigfoot character, was played by Zach Galifianakis. It was a really good movie, actually. I think it got nominated for Academy Awards. I think it might have won Best Animated Movie. It's a Bigfoot movie, and nobody's talking about it. I don't know. I think that's crazy. Yeah, sorry, Nate. Like, these comments are coming in hot. I can't keep up with this. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you out there alone? Alone? It's gonna take me a minute to think about that. There was one time when I was out at the Ruby Falls area in Alberta, like near the Cardinal Divide, and I was sleeping in my tent in the middle of nowhere, and at like 3 in the morning, I could hear like someone driving around on a quad or something. I'm like, what are these people doing out here at this hour? And I thought they were gonna like find my tent and like, I don't know. That kind of freaked me out. That was alarming. I've had a few things happen that are freaky, but I was usually with people when those things happen. Like at there's a place like north of the 2 o'clock Creek campground area. There is a trail that goes to a place called Hidden Lake. And back in like 2015, I hiked up to Hidden Lake with my stepdad and my ex-girlfriend. And I've told the story in videos before. I think in Expedition Sasquatch 4, I told the story where I was sleeping in my tent with my girlfriend at the time. And in the middle of the night, something walked past the tent that was like massive, sounded very heavy, and it made a grunting sound. And then it just walked off. And it was probably like 20 feet away. And I was the only one awake for this. So I'm like, am I imagining this or not? I don't know. My stepdad, even in the bush, he sleeps with earplugs in. And my girlfriend at the time, she was passed right out, like sleeping. We had hiked. We'd done so much hiking on that trip that everyone was just exhausted. But I'm kind of a light sleeper out in the woods. And I remember just lying there on my stomach with like a knife in one hand, just like waiting and listening. And eventually I just fell back asleep. But it was freaky, man. Like that Hidden Lake, just a small little remote mountain lake. It's just north of Landslide Lake. If you look up Landslide Lake, yeah, that lake is creepy. If you hike into that lake and go there, the vibe is just weird. Is it possible a Sasquatch could leave one single print, since there's a possibility they use portals? Maybe like they sense someone, or possibly a dog. I mean, yeah, I've thought about this a lot. We wonder a lot of times why there's like, you'll find one track or two tracks or three, and there's many theories. Like maybe they step off onto logs when they can, so they don't leave impressions, or maybe they climb up trees, or maybe they can vanish or phase out of this reality. Who knows? Or if there is one track that's found, maybe it's not actually a Bigfoot track. You know, it could have been an impression left by a bigger rock or something. Do you think it's better to go out solo searching or with a team? There's pros and cons to both, kind of. Like for me, I prefer going out alone just because I am more comfortable filming myself on camera. Like I'm awkward when there's people around and I'm filming. Like I do not want to do that. But also, like when you're alone and you're out looking for Bigfoot, you're more vulnerable and you're less of a threat, right? So you probably have better chances when you're alone of seeing something and having weird stuff happen. But then, you know, when you're with a team, you have the added security of being in a group of people. The good thing about being in a team is that everybody has different ideas, and it's easier to like come up with like, things to do and different ways of going about looking for Bigfoot. Um, but yeah, it's just the big thing is that it is safer. And I don't know. I feel like a Sasquatch wouldn't be as inclined to approach a large group of people as a, like than a single person out there in the woods, right? Some of these questions are good, but some of the comments are funny too. Any bear encounters? There was one time I was hiking actually to that hidden lake, and there was apparently a bear that had charged towards someone's tent the one night, and they were actually like shutting down the trail while I was on it. I had no idea the trail was even shut down until I hiked out of there because I was at Hidden Lake. I've had some close encounters walking down like trails when I was firefighting, where like a little black bear would like run out right in front of me and just like disappear into the woods. It didn't even pay any attention to me. I had a few experiences like that. When I was firefighting, I've seen a lot of bears, probably like 100 bears. Like you'd see them all the time from the helicopter. Ooh, Andy says a grizzly bear could F up a Bigfoot. Maybe. Would actually like to see that. I know there was that one movie with the scene where the bear fights the Sasquatch. It's actually pretty intense. Do you think Bigfoot used some kind of stone or bone tools? I don't know. I think what they would probably do is not make tools out of stones or like sticks or anything like that. I think they would just like take rocks and use them as a tool, just on their own, kind of. Like there's some chimpanzees that will take sticks to like use them to like stick into holes to eat like termites and ants and stuff like that. So they actually use tools. I wouldn't be surprised if Bigfoot used sticks and rocks to do stuff because they do rock clacking, rock throwing, they build structures, they twist up saplings. The wilderness is their home, so whatever they can find and use to their advantage while still being hidden, they'll probably do. Apparently, there was an eyewitness report of a BFRO guy who happened upon a dead bear with its head twisted completely in reverse. See, I don't know what would do that. The only thing that could do that is a Sasquatch, or if a bear was killed some other way, maybe by a person, and then they mutilated it or something. Are you going to be trekking more in the future? Yes, sir. Either next week or the week after, I'm going out to do Expedition Sasquatch 5. So it's going to be a big trip. And then hopefully, like sometime in August or the end of August, the Land Rover will be done. We'll be going out and film. Like, I don't know how many uploads there will be in like September, because I will have been gone for a while on a big trip, filming Quest for the Wild Man. So the summer's been kind of slow starting. I wish at this point I would have been out more, doing more trips, but real life stuff kind of is getting in the way at this very moment. Have you ever come across a wilderness person like Mick Dodge? One time I was in the Nordic area and I had pulled off the highway and I ran into these really old prospectors who were wearing like old style clothes, like suspenders, and like they looked like they came from the 1940s. And they were just looking at rocks and stuff. It was very strange. And then there was one time where I was, I can't remember where I was. There's a place called Wapiabi Caves in Alberta, like near Nordig. And this was like probably like 20, well, not 20 years, maybe 15 years ago. I was hiking through there and we came across like a couple guys that were like that. They just looked like the typical like old school bushman, and they just pretty much live out there. It's crazy. There's in that area, like in the Catamount area, near the Cardinal Divide, there's a lot of people like that out there. It's kind of like It's kind of sketchy sometimes. You don't know, like sometimes you bump into these people in the woods and you don't know what they're like, and it can be kind of scary. Nada is knocking the BFRO. Okay, so the BFRO like consists of so many people. You can't just like attack the organization entirely because like I know some BFRO people who are like legit really good people, very knowledgeable. But there are people in the BFRO who are like pretty silly. So just remember that. Do you think the Yeti went extinct? Haven't heard much about it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not even real. That's true though, right? You don't hear a lot of Yeti reports nowadays. I mean, there were those tracks that the Indian Army came across a few years ago, and I think that's the last I ever heard of like active Yeti reports. And then there was the Josh Gates stuff from Destination Truth and Expedition Unknown. He had found a Yeti track or what looked like a Yeti track, and it was in one of the episodes. I think it was in Destination Truth. Um, yeah, I had asked someone. I'm friends with this lady on Facebook. She had climbed, I think at this point she's climbed Everest 10 times. And I asked her about the Yeti, and they said it was a story that was told to them as kids to keep them, close and keep them out of danger so they don't drift off into the wilderness. And that's like you hear that a lot with the First Nation stuff here in like British Columbia and Alberta. Have you seen the orbs? Okay, JDO says, "Have you seen the orbs?" Okay, the other night, this is something that happened like the other night. I was out here looking for UFOs, like getting ready to film them, and like 20 feet in front of my patio. This is my estimate. It's really hard to judge distance in the dark with these lights, but there was a. It looked like an orange. It looked like it was about that big, an orange light, and it like did a thing. I thought it was a firefly at first, but I'm like, dude, I've never seen a firefly in this city ever. I don't know anything about fireflies. Are they in Edmonton? I have no idea. But that was my initial thought, that it was like a luminescent bug of some kind. And then I realized, well, I'm also filming this weird stuff in the sky, so maybe it is related. Maybe it's an actual orb. I have no idea. It was weird though. I didn't get it on camera, but I plan to, hopefully in the future. This stuff keeps getting weirder and weirder, so I'm expecting stuff to pick up, and I hope to get more things like that, like little orbs, and I want this stuff to come in closer so we can get a good look at it. But I guess I should be careful what I wish for, because you never know what's going on. I think too, like Ron Moorhead, the guy who recorded the Sierra Sounds, at their location in the Sierra Mountains, they had weird stuff going on like that too. Like they're seeing weird orbs and weird light anomalies while having these weird Bigfoot interactions and recording Bigfoot audio. Is that stuff related? I don't know. Is the stuff I'm seeing related to Bigfoot? I don't know. I really don't want it to be. I don't want it to be. I want to keep this separate. Yeah, I don't know. It's all just pretty crazy. The latest question: do you think there's a connection with UFO and Bigfoot? I don't know, but I'm gonna try my best to find out. I feel like I have the best opportunity right now to try and find out. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I wonder if like these ETs and aliens. I wonder if they could manipulate a Ouija board the same way like a ghost could, and then I could use that to communicate with them, or maybe use like one of those spirit box things. They like pick up the voices and whatnot. I haven't watched a lot of these ghost hunting shows in a while because I think a lot of them are crap. Sorry for the silence. I got to read some of these questions, so it can be kind of awkward when I don't talk. There's a question here about the cave expedition that I spoke about in the past. That is the expedition that I'll be going on at the end of the summer when my Land Rover is finished being built into an overlanding rig. So this is the expedition vehicle, and we're going to be drive. I have a really good idea now of the general area where the cave is. Like I have it kind of narrowed down, so I don't have to wonder really where it might be in like the entire wilderness. I have like an area probably with I don't know, an area with like probably a 2 kilometer radius of where this cave might be. I think it's manageable in like a couple weeks or a few weeks to find it. Um, and I've had a few people like verify this. So there have been people who have seen this cave. There was a hunter, I believe, who saw it, and this guy told Ken Walker, the taxidermist, and then there's another guy, Brian Spackman. He knows about the cave as well. I don't know if he's seen it, but other people do know about it. Any Ontario expedition? I would love to go to Ontario. There's a lot of bush in Ontario, a lot of bush in the Snellgrove Lake area that was in Monster Quest, where Meldrum and all those other guys went out there and had the rocks and stuff being thrown at the cabin. I would love to go to that lake. A lot of people say that Sasquatch is indeed in Ontario, and I would believe it because, when you look at the maps, the amount of remote wilderness there is pretty crazy. Are you going with a group to the cave? Probably not, because I can't find anybody else who can take the amount of time off that I'm taking. So like if I do find this cave, I'm obviously not going to explore all the way into it. I might go a little ways and poke around, but like some of these caves can be super dangerous. You never know when you're going to fall down like 100-foot shaft and like nobody would ever hear from me again. But the main goal is to just find it at this point. Find it and document where it is, what's in the immediate like entrance to it. Apparently there's bones. I keep hearing people say there's bones. There's a lot of bones, animal bones, whatever kind of bones. I have no idea, but the remains of many forest creatures are, laid there to rest. So I wonder, like, if I could make some sort of light to mount onto a drone and maybe fly the drone into the cave. That could be really cool. That could be a great video. Yeah, caving by yourself is near suicide. I agree with you. I've seen the movie The Descent, and there could be like vampire creatures down there too. I'm just kidding. There won't be vampire creatures. If there's anything, there's going to be Bigfoot. Have you been told of any encounters from Newfoundland? I couldn't tell you one encounter from Newfoundland, to be honest with you. I've never heard of any encounters. There might be. It's literally like the last place I would even think to like search on Google to see if there has been any encounters there, to see if anyone's reported anything. Can Bigfoot swim in deep water from what you have researched? I mean, there's reports of Bigfoot in water, but I don't know about deep water. That I couldn't tell you. But there are reports of Bigfoot like standing in water, swimming in water, washing themselves. I think I even heard a report of a Sasquatch defecating in a lake and then just walking out. But then, like, if there are Sasquatch on these islands off the coast of British Columbia, like in the Tofino area and pretty much everywhere along the British Columbia coast, then I feel like the odds of them like going out into the sea and like into the ocean and swimming, I bet you like they probably have. Might be a great way to lose a $300 drone. Yeah, probably more like $1,000 drone. But you can have those drones relay footage back to like your phone. So if you do lose the drone, at least you would have something backed up. That's a really cool feature that they have. Have you smelled the rank odor when in the woods? No, I haven't smelt it. I've smelt all kinds of weird stuff in the bush, but so like this Sasquatch smell, Doug Hycheck, the producer of Monster Quest, he told me that they actually have it. They have a sample of this smell. I don't know how it was recovered, but apparently they have it, and we're going to be looking at it in Legend Meets Science 2 and analyzing it and finding out what it is. He calls it putrescine. That's the name he came up for it, putrescine. I don't know if it'll catch on, but he said you can like walk into the room if that stuff is like if the container's been opened up and you could pretty much just die. The smell is so bad. So I can't say I'm really looking forward to filming that segment. Yeah. If you guys are asking questions about specific people in the Bigfoot community, I'm not going to answer them. Just so you guys know. Do you listen to Bigfoot podcasts like Sasquatch Chronicles? Yeah, I do. Whenever I drive out to Nordic, I download all these podcasts: Sasquatch Chronicles, Confessionals with Tony Merkel. It's one of my favorites. And I like to kind of get in the zone because sometimes it's nice to, when you're going out into the woods and you get there, you just want to camp and relax. You got to put yourself in the zone. It is creepy, but I love listening to that stuff and hearing all the stories, and it's kind of inspiring, and it makes you wonder because sometimes you don't lose faith in this stuff. Well, you kind of do actually. Like sometimes I'll have days where I wonder, like, is this actually real? Am I wasting my time here? Then I'm like, how could it not be? With all these accounts and all these stories and all these people having these experiences and the weird stuff that I've seen, how could it not be real? You know, I like to listen to this stuff to keep me believing, I guess. I like what you said once about trying to explain one mystery with another. I mean, at this point, I don't. Yeah, I probably said that very early on. At this point, I'll believe like I'm open to anything. I won't believe anything. But now that this stuff's going on outside here, this UFO stuff, man, like I'm pretty much open to anything being a reality because this stuff is weird. Do you think Sasquatch eat cats like Alf? Yes, probably. Why not? How many house cats have you seen walking around in the bush? I haven't seen very many. Yeah, in these UFO videos too, like this is all going to be explained and like analyzed thoroughly in my film that I'm making. But the I don't even know what to call them, the light beings or organisms or creatures that look like birds. Because when you look at them closely, they do look like birds. They look like birds, but I guarantee you they are emitting light. They're not reflecting light. That flock of whatever it is the only thing flying around that is emitting light. Like, and I've seen birds flying around at night, like in the city. You can see them. They're dark. There was one that flew over one of the more recent times I was out. It flew directly over. I couldn't tell if it was a bird or a bat, but it was like black, and it scared the crap out of me because I wasn't expecting it. But these things are luminescent, and that's what doesn't make sense to me. And also, you have to keep in mind that the first thing that I saw in this whole experience, in the first video that I made, that 30-minute video where I'm like explaining stuff, that line, they were in a line, and the whole thing was spinning around doing circles. So like, what is that? And that was the weirdest. That was the very first thing that I ever saw, and that was very alarming, man. Like that was terrifying. Stop asking me about other Bigfoot researchers. I'm not, even if I don't like people, I'm not going to throw them under the bus. Bravo says he saw 2 UFOs one night, and 2 weeks later, he had his first sleep paralysis experience. Well, that's terrifying. I've had sleep paralysis a couple times, and it is legitimately terrifying. Even if you don't see anything while you're having sleep paralysis, the feeling of it is one of the worst feelings in the world. It is scary. It's probably one of the scariest things a person can go through in the paranormal kind of world. How many years do you think Bigfoot live? That's a thing I think about a lot. Like, and that's a question you can't even answer. But I'm curious to know because, like, when thinking about like Bigfoot remains and what they do with them, like that's something I think about because, like, how often do these things even die? You know, we just don't know. A lot of these questions we will just not know the answers to until we can actually study these things persistently. What's the longest time you spent in the wilderness doing Bigfoot expeditions? I've spent a couple weeks out in the bush. Like a couple weeks is pretty intense. And then there was the only other time I've done 2 weeks out in the bush was on a canoe expedition in northern Saskatchewan. And I think we paddled like 180 kilometers or something like that. It was pretty epic. And on that trip, we didn't see anything other than like bears and regular wildlife. But yeah, a couple weeks out in the bush, and then usually like keeping extra supplies in the car so that if you do have to go back to the car, grab stuff, you can. That's the easiest way to do it. And then if you maybe like trek off for a few days on a hike and then go back to the car camp for a little bit and then go back out, that's also a really good way to do it. That's probably the most manageable way to do it. Dodd says, "Where's your friend now? The guy who does not believe in Bigfoot." I think you're talking about my buddy Doug. Doug's my best friend, and we just haven't been able to get together very much nowadays. He's busy with his life and his family, and we talked the other week, and we've actually talked about getting together to, record videos together again. I think it'd be really fun because he is very skeptical of pretty much everything nowadays. When we were kids, he believed in everything. And then like growing up through like his 20s and going through a lot of hardships and whatnot, I think it kind of killed his imagination and his sense of wonder, maybe, which is sad. But he'll entertain all these ideas, which is great. I will tell him, Andy. I will tell him he's missed. As far as the next expedition goes, couple weeks max. That's when it's going to be, and it's going to be in Nordegg. People keep asking that. Can you do a podcast with Doug? That's funny because when we started like recording videos together, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to do podcast episodes. If you go way back to the oldest videos on this channel, there's a few episodes that are like podcast episodes. I think we called it Mountain Beast Radio. And they're like hour and a half, 2 hour long episodes. There's probably like 3 or 4 of them, and then we just stopped doing it. They wouldn't get any views. So it was like, it wasn't worth it. It just made more sense to make Bigfoot content because that's what people wanted to see. On a silver platter, thank you for that donation. He or she says, "What do you think of Stephen Grier's CE5 protocols? Do you practice it before witnessing UFOs?" I do practice it very not closely. I do it kind of like in the way that's comfortable to me, which is just basically like thinking very deeply about it and trying to visualize where I am on the earth. Like I visualize where I am as if I was almost looking at the earth on like Google Earth and try and like locate my position in my mind, and then just kind of like asking in my head for them to like show up. Like I don't even say the words, I just think it in my head. And then more often than not, like almost immediately after I do that, weird stuff starts happening. Like I'm going to go out there tonight. It's a nice clear day right now. I don't know if clouds are going to come in or if any storms are going to come in, but if there isn't, I will go out tonight and like I'll make an update video to see if anything happens. Yeah, I don't know. What another thing I wanted to do though with like the footage that I've been recording, like I'm making a documentary, but I thought it'd be really cool to incorporate it into like an actual dramatic movie. Like I don't know if it would be sci-fi. It would be elements of sci-fi, obviously, and drama. But to make a movie about somebody who's experiencing like the UFO phenomena, and then for scenes where like there is a UFO encounter, actually incorporating real UFO footage into it, and that would be kind of like the hook of the movie, right? All the UFO scenes are legit, kind of added in and mixed in with this dramatic movie stuff, like actual scenes with characters and dialogue and whatnot. A few weeks ago, my husband and I saw 15 lights in the sky, and they were all separated the same distance apart, like they were following each other. Just really bright white lights, all going the same way. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times, these things are just lights. And I don't know really what that means. In the Dr. Greer documentary, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, he basically explains it by saying that when these things are like partially materialized into this reality, they appear as light. And then when they're fully materialized into this reality, they can appear as solid objects. I don't know like the science behind that, but I can imagine it actually like being legit, being being what's actually going on. Woodsman Outdoors says grizzlies bail when they see them in the area. Yeah, probably. I mean, like, that's something that's really interesting to try and imagine, like, the relationship between all the other wildlife and Sasquatch. Doug Hychek from Monster Quest, he was telling me, he was like, "Man, imagine if, like, Sasquatch like are friends with like flying squirrels or like something like that because they have flying squirrels where he is down in like Minnesota. And what if they like use them to, I guess, identify when there's a threat in the area, like to use them as kind of like a warning sign. I wonder if they do stuff like that, if they utilize like birds and other small critters to help them doing that. Come to California and do an expedition. Get out of Canada, dude. I would love to. I would love to go traveling around doing this stuff. It's just like it's difficult. Um, I mean, it's not as difficult as it was a year ago when you couldn't really go anywhere, but now I can go places. It's just yeah, I'm gonna be going next June to Ohio. Yeah, Ohio. Seth Breedlove from Small Town Monsters is doing a festival thing there, like a convention thing, and I get to be one of the guests. So I'm super excited to be there. And the lineup of guests is like awesome. It's really awesome, like legit people who are super into the subject and very respectable. And while I'm there, we're planning on maybe filming some content like video content like for Mountain Beast Mysteries and for their Small Town Monsters channel. I think that'd be really cool because I've always wanted to team up with those guys. And Alex Pedikov, he has a YouTube channel, Sasquatch Out of the Shadows. He's a great guy. I love that guy. He works with them, and they make some of the best like Bigfoot documentaries out there. So go to the Small Town Monsters YouTube channel and subscribe to them. Try and get them over 100,000 subscribers, and share their channel everywhere. They're doing great stuff, and they're like so committed. Like they've been going hard, pumping out content. Do you think the government knows more than we do about Bigfoot? Yeah, I do. Definitely do. I mean, if you think they've been looking into the UFO subject since like UFOs became a thing, since like probably before Roswell, they've probably been looking into Bigfoot like at least since the Patterson footage came out. I would think. And we know they've been looking into it because there was that FBI document when Peter Burns sent in those hairs and they actually analyzed them. Um, were the answers they gave back to Peter Burns true? Probably not. Probably not. Will your dad be going on an expedition with you? And that's the dream. My dad lives quite a ways away from me in another province. And it's just hard logistically to do that. I have always wanted to go to that Henry Lake with him where he had his rock throwing experience. That would be awesome to get him out there. Maybe when the Land Rover's built, we can do a road trip out there and drive it up to Henry Lake together. I think that'd be really cool. Can you use a quad? Bigfoot Okanagan. Hey, is that Leon? Leon, is that you or is that someone else? I do have access to a quad, but I also just got a Land Rover, an old Land Rover. So with a Land Rover, I can literally put everything in it. And it has so many windows in it too. It's like the perfect safari vehicle. Steven says, with all these fires out west, you'd think they would have more sightings. Yeah, but maybe not. Like they could just take refuge in a cave somewhere up in the mountains where there's not even any like material to burn, and then you'd never see them. If these things move fast and if they like identify a smoke column right away, they would definitely have time to bail and hide somewhere. It is Leon. Leon, I hope you're doing well, man. I know you went through some stuff there. Everyone give Leon from Bigfoot Okanagan a lot of love. He's had some rough times, but he's doing really good now, and I hope to see him back on YouTube ASAP. Leon was always a big supporter of Mountain Beast Mysteries, like a huge supporter. I love that guy. Yeah, Justin, me and Keenan will get out there for sure one day. We'll film some stuff too. Um, and I think you're pretty close to where Keenan lives too, aren't you? Are you in Morley? In the Morley area? Do you think as soon as you come into the woods, they sense you? I mean, I don't know. Like, that's another question that you can't answer. Like, you can just assume that if you're in like the deep wilderness, that they might be around. That's about all you can do. We don't know about their senses or anything like that, really. How much do you think a Bigfoot can deadlift? I don't know. There's people that can deadlift a lot. They could probably deadlift like 3,000 pounds. About the wildfires and whatnot, you don't see an overabundance of any wildlife because of fires. So I see zero reason to see some more Bigfoot movement. I see zero reason to see more Bigfoot movement. Yeah, I mean, I've come across when I was in wildfire, there were a lot of times where we'd come across like dead animals, like in the Fort McMurray area. When Fort McMurray was burning, I was up there, and we would see like dead moose that have just been like roasted over by the fire. It's pretty insane. I've also seen a dead black bear that died. It climbed up a power line pole in the middle of nowhere, climbed to the top, got electrocuted, started on fire, fell down onto the ground, and then lit the grass on fire and started a grass fire. That was one of the fires I was on. Crazy how that stuff happens. Would it make sense to hike above the wildfires to reduce the search area? Well, it would make sense if the wildfire wasn't burning anymore. Like generally a fire will burn upwards until there's no more fuel to burn. If the fuel's burnt, then go for it. But like there are if there's no like if Sasquatch are up in the alpine, in the rocky areas, like that's probably where they would go if there's a wildfire. Well out of harm's way. Like a fire can't burn where there's no fuel, so cow moose call near power lines. Bull. What do you think about Colorado Bigfoot's tree structures that he shows? They are crazy. I've seen a few of them. I have to look into some of these other channels. It's getting kind of hard to keep up with all the, I guess, Bigfoot YouTubers because there's so many nowadays. Like when I started Mountain Beast Mysteries, there was maybe a few channels. I think there was the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization, and then there's a couple channels that were focused on like stories, like just Bigfoot stories. And speaking of Bigfoot stories, while I'm not on expedition, you guys have to deal with my Bigfoot stories and my theories because I can't film wilderness stuff in my apartment. Okay, just so you guys know. And it means a lot if you guys actually watch them. It helps the channel out immensely. Yeah, so the area in Morley, Alberta, I've actually heard quite a few stories from that area. If you go like down to the Calgary area and then head west towards the mountains, there are a lot of Sasquatch reports. The west of Calgary, like in the Kananaskis area, and almost it seems like there's more reports down there than there is in Nordig these days. What are the chances you obtain footage of Bigfoot, upload it, and then some people pay you a surprise visit? Dude, I don't know, but I've been thinking about that with the UFO thing, honestly, because people have like sent me weird emails, cryptic emails saying like, dude, you got to watch out because like keep an eye out on things around, like keep an eye out for weird things happening, weird people around. And when people write me stuff like that, it freaks me out, you know? It makes me sound like a crazy person. It makes me feel like a crazy person. But then I'm like thinking I'm just a YouTuber. Like I have no, I don't, why would you focus on me? I'm basically just a kid, like, oh, looking for UFOs. I'm 31, but I feel like a kid. I don't feel like I'm a threat in any way to like the government or anything. I don't know why people would show up. Maybe just because I'm like revealing stuff, but I feel like they're accepting it and revealing it anyways on their own, like with the UFO stuff. So it's like, why even bother me? Do you support the commercialization of Bigfoot, t-shirts, etc.? Yeah, I do. Like everything's commercialized. And if there's people out there who want to go looking for Bigfoot full time. If we had more people looking for Bigfoot full time, maybe we would have found Bigfoot already and like proved its existence. But a lot of people do genuinely want to go out looking for Bigfoot full time, and they want to be able to support themselves doing it. I have no problem with people selling items to fund what they're doing, what they want to do. I have a t-shirt shop, a Mountain Beast Mysteries t-shirt shop. I don't know if there's like a link below any of my videos to go to it, and we sell there's Mountain Beast Mystery shirts on there. And so I go through Spreadshirt. They take like a massive, you barely get anything for a t-shirt. I'll get like a couple bucks from a t-shirt, which is like pretty much nothing, but like it does help get out there into the bush when you got to drive 5 hours out into the mountains and gas is $1.80. It's like, and then you got to get food and, it's crazy. Yeah. Squatching Cowboy. Yeah. Squatching ain't cheap. He's right. He is right. Do you believe in ghosts? I do believe in ghosts, only because I seen when I was a kid what I thought was a ghost, like a full body apparition. Go way back into my videos. There's a video I think titled "A Night Visitor," and I tell the story of a full body apparition I saw when I was 9 at my dad's house. It was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. Yeah, gas is like $1.80 a liter here, Canadian. Do you think people don't reach for their cameras when they see a Bigfoot because they get scared? Yeah, I think a lot of times when people run into Bigfoot, they don't know what to do. Like you pretty much just freeze and you're like your brain doesn't even know what to do. You kind of have to through time, like going out into the bush and like having experiences where you might maybe hear something. You got to like practice pulling out your camera and having it set up. Like when I go into the bush now, if I'm like this camera here, this has like a manual focus lens on it. This is not an electronic lens. So if I have this lens on the camera, I can set it to like infinity focus and it'll everything beyond like a certain distance will be in focus, which is very easy. I use manual lenses when I'm out filming this UFO stuff because I can just set it to infinity focus. I don't have to worry about that. Like you can pretty much set the camera up and have it ready to go. And that is something everyone should do if they're out in the bush. Have the camera set up already and have it in your hand. Just carry it in your hand. Now everyone's talking about gas prices. Should I just talk about economics? Do you think the dogman claims are a load of bollocks? Oh man, I want to believe that they are not true. I don't know why people like are people actually having these experiences? Like I try to imagine this. I'm like, are people actually seeing the dogman or are they seeing something that looks like a dog? But then I went out with a couple buddies not long ago and we were swapping stories, talking about Bigfoot. And my one friend who like these were both wildfire friends of mine from when I was firefighting. My one friend said that one time he was driving down a road and he saw something that looked like a deer walking on two legs that was like 2 meters tall. That's what he said to me. And he's like, dude, I swear to God, I saw this. And I don't know what I was. And I'm like, that's crazy. I believe that you believe you saw it. And I wasn't there, so I can't really say anything, but people are seeing weird stuff. It's like, what is this stuff? Is it supernatural? Like, what is going on? Do you believe in the Wendigo? That's another thing. Like, I'm interested in this supernatural stuff. I don't know if it's real or not. Like, I can't say I believe in it really until I seen it. I'm definitely open to it being real. The Wendigo, I remember years ago there was a crazy story. I think it was in Edmonton or Fort Saskatchewan or something, of a guy who like murdered his family and said the Wendigo told him to do it. It's a true story. You could probably look it up on Google. Like if you Google like Edmonton Wendigo murder or something like that, you probably find it. Do you think that Bigfoot is telepathic? Oh, a lot of people claim that. A lot of people claim that they have experienced mind speak. And I'm open to this too. I'm open to this telepathy thing. mainly because of this CE5, this close encounters of the fifth kind stuff. If you go out with the intention of seeing these things or making contact of some kind, like if you project those thoughts out without even saying it, like they will show up. And that's, to me, that's like telepathy, right? So is it possible that something like the Sasquatch can do it? I mean, it's possible. I mean, there's people who claim that they can do it. And if Bigfoot is related to these ETs, then sure, why not? Have you ever wondered what you will do if you ever come up close with a Bigfoot? Probably defecate in my shorts and then cry a little bit and run away. I don't know. I'd probably just freeze there for a second and do everything in my power to get my camera on this thing. But then again, it depends what the situation is too. If I come face to face with a Bigfoot and it's trying to kill me, then there probably won't be much I can do. The main goal is to capture it on camera, and that's what I would be trying to do. I think at this point, after years of going out into the bush, I would be able to um, make the call to record it on video. Like, because like I talked about a little while ago, you don't know, like, your body doesn't know what to do in like very stressful, weird situations like that. You know, you got to work on it. You got to practice. It sounds silly to practice like getting your camera ready, but it's true. Francesca says, Justin, you're so honest. I mean, I try to be. There's a lot of like ego in the Bigfoot world, which is weird. And a lot of people who don't want to like admit to being wrong about stuff. And that's the thing that like I find so strange, is that nobody wants to like accept defeat or that their ideas are wrong or whatever. Like who cares? I don't know. I feel like the more you don't care, the more honest you are. What is your favorite Bigfoot movie? Ooh, my favorite Bigfoot movie. I like The Legend of Sasquatch. It's the one that's supposed to take place in like British Columbia, but they actually filmed it in Montana or something like that. And it's like a big expedition that they go on horseback to find Sasquatch. And at the end of it, they run into Sasquatch who'd like broken a bunch of trees. And there's like a big night scene where they're being like attacked by Sasquatch. It's pretty cool. And then I like a documentary called, I can't remember what it's called now. It's on Tubi. It's got that bald guy in it. I can't remember his name. Something Morgan something. He used to be a pretty prominent researcher back in the day. He's a bald guy. It's like In Search of Bigfoot or something. I can't remember. It's on Tubi. It's an old one though, and he drives around like an old red Land Cruiser. I think it'd be really cool. Like I've wanted to make an actual movie about the search for Bigfoot with like a cast of characters and actually make it good. I have no idea why there isn't a good Bigfoot movie out there. It's probably because of the subject matter. Like Hollywood won't actually invest in a big movie on that topic. But I feel like I could pull off something pretty good. Mackenzie says, I love Bigfoot Girl. I want to know if you're joking, if you're being sarcastic, because I watched Bigfoot Girl and it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. A Flash of Beauty movie, except the last segment. Yeah, I agree. The Flash of Beauty was very, very well produced. And like, honestly, if there was a person who I ran into who didn't believe in Bigfoot, um, and they were super skeptical or they didn't really know anything about Bigfoot, I would say watch this Flash of Beauty documentary up until the segment where they show the picture of the Bigfoot that looks clearly like a costume. I don't know why they even bothered putting that in there. Nobody was questioning that when they were editing it, because I would have been. But up until that point, it was an exceptional film. I really do believe that. Willow Creek. Yeah, the Willow Creek movie, the found footage one. That was not bad. Oh, the one guy from Expedition Bigfoot's in that. I forgot. Are Canadians still allowed to carry guns into the wilderness for protection? You can carry a non-restricted firearm into the bush if it's crown land. You can't do it in parks. It has to be like public crown land, and it has to be non-restricted, so it can't be a handgun, which sucks. You can't even buy handguns now in Canada. Like they, like the laws here are crazy. But it's hard when you're already carrying so much gear, and then you got to carry like a shotgun and all the ammunition for it. Like I wish I could just carry a sidearm. It'd be way more convenient. If you're a trapper, I think there is some sort of license you can get to be able to carry a sidearm on your trap line. Coincidentally, a lot of these trap lines have Sasquatch activity on them, especially in the Nordic area. That the habituation site here in Alberta, that is like that whole area is covered in trap lines, and that's where like a lot of the stories come from trappers. Sorry guys, I'm just reading again. Hey, what did you guys think about that Sasquatch show? I think it was a Hulu show. It ended up not really being about Sasquatch. It was about like drug runners and stuff and murder. I thought it was hilarious. The funniest thing to me was how everyone was very mad that it wasn't about Bigfoot. And to me, like watching the trailer, I thought that the trailer made it clear that it wasn't actually about Bigfoot, but a lot of people ended up being upset that it wasn't even about Sasquatch. A boot, a boot Sasquatch. Apparently, that's how I sound when I say about. Exists. The movie Exists. Is that the one that was made by the guy who did the Blair Witch Project? I think I've seen that. JDO says an emergency locator beacon. Do you carry one? Yes, I do. Um, Somebody asked this earlier. I carry a Zoleo satellite and messenger device thing. It's got the SOS function and everything, and tracks my location. For the longest time, like I've only had this thing for a year. I think I got it last summer. Yeah, last summer, and before that, like for all of my 20s and before that, I never used anything like that. I mean, for a while, like nothing like that was really available, you know? It wasn't until recently, like they have the Garmin InReach. I think that's what Keenan has. Yeah, it's pretty good. It has all the same functions, except it's got a bunch of buttons on it, so you can like text right on the device. The device I have, it's not within arm's reach, so I can't show you, but it doesn't have any buttons on it really. It just your phone connects to it. Then you can like send messages or you can like check the weather and stuff like that. It's pretty neat. Very expensive though. Like the monthly rate is like $70 or $80 a month for the like unlimited like messages and whatever. Would you ever take a dog with you? I would totally take a dog with me. I just don't have like a dog here. Like we have family dogs and they're at my parents' place and they are not like deep wilderness dogs. They're small, like they would not they would not do well. It would be cool to have a dog though, because they can like pick up on stuff. You could like look at the dog and see what it's like doing. I think it'll know when there's danger around. Obviously, it'll start barking. A really good alarm system is a dog. Have you ever come across other cryptid accounts such as those weird skinny gray things that sulk around and scream in the night? I don't know if that's. I don't know. Okay, I will say one thing. There's a guy I used to know back in the day. He grew up on Vancouver Island. And one time he told me the story where he was walking home from a friend's house when he was like 13. And he was walking down this like dark road, and on each side of the road was like forest. And he said he had looked, I don't know if he heard something and he looked or he just looked, but he looked into the woods and he saw, this is what he said he saw. He said he saw like a 2 meter tall, very like skinny thing, like upright walking being thing, just like creepily walking in the woods, like paralleling him. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but when I heard that story, I was like, wow, that is creepy. That sounds a lot like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with my friend Ben Walgate from 401 Files. You probably are because I talk about him every now and then on the channel, and he's been in a few of my videos. But when Ben was a young kid, he was on a field trip, and their bus had pulled off so that the kids could like go to the bathroom and whatnot. This is like in the countryside somewhere in the UK. And Ben went off into the bushes, and he claims that he saw a like, I don't know if it was a reptilian, but a being that looked like a reptilian. It was green and it was a like a humanoid shape. Like the closest thing to describe it, he said, is the alien from the movie Signs. He said he saw something that looked almost exactly like that. And it's also interesting. Ben sent me this really crazy audio recording. It was really long of it's called the Lacerda files. If you look up the Lacerda files, I think it's like LACERTA or something like that. It is like, it's not an actual like recording of the creature, but it's like it's being read. It's an account that was like documented on paper, like in writing, and somebody like made a recording of it. And it is like a interview with like a reptilian alien. And it is very strange. And some of the stuff that is said by this thing, you're like, wow, like who could make this up? I mean, people are very creative. Like obviously anyone can make anything up, but this Lacerda files thing had information in it that was like, oh wow, this is fascinating. You would have to be on a lot of mushrooms probably to make this stuff up. And maybe they were. I don't really know. But check that out, the Lacerda files. And yeah, people are seeing like weird reptilian lizard looking aliens, which is very strange. Brooklyn Wolf, wow, thank you so much. He sent a $50 donation. Love your content. Please never lose the passion. Dude, sometimes it's hard not to lose the passion. I have to really like fight sometimes because it can be hard, man. Like constantly like looking into this stuff and making content on it. It's tricky. He says the truth is out there, and one day you will be the one to discover Bigfoot. I don't know if I will be the one. I mean, I'd be happy to be the one. Any interest in exploring the Adirondacks? Dude, I would explore anywhere if the time is right, and if like I'm just like financially able to go, I would totally go. What's my favorite game of all time? If you're talking about video games, my favorite game is Uncharted, the Uncharted series, and also The Last of Us and Red Dead Redemption 2. And then I like World War II games. I like Medal of Honor and all that kind of stuff. Somebody here says that Len says the 12 gauge is soon to be banned. I hope not. That would be awful. Like, how could they get away with that? I guess they would just, I guess because of the bore size, maybe, because it's technically like 50 caliber, over 50 caliber. Because I know they banned 50 caliber. They banned 50 caliber here in Canada. You can't have a 50 cal anymore. And so there was some like questions as to whether the 12 gauge would be banned, and that would leave us with 20 gauge. Do you believe in skinwalkers? I don't know what I believe in yet. As far as belief goes, the word belief, I don't know. Like, should I take it literally? That word, belief? I am open to the possibility that they exist. Mel says, I really enjoy yours and Ben's intellectuality in these subjects. Yeah, like Ben, okay, Ben and I are very similar people. Like our brains work in the same way. We've gone through a lot of the same things in life. And I feel like if Ben lived like around me, or if I lived around Ben, we would probably be best friends. Like we get along very well. We talk like quite often online and do Zoom calls and whatnot. He's a great guy. He's a very solid guy. And Ben, like all the stuff on Ben's channel, like he is an honest guy. I can say that with 100% certainty. Like the stuff Ben talks about, and if something happens, he's 100% telling the truth. That's what I love about him too. He's just a solid guy, and he's very, I don't know, he's just a very self-aware guy. He's just, yeah, just solid. Go subscribe to his channel. Like he's he deserves a big YouTube channel, in my opinion. I think everyone should subscribe to him. What would you do if you shot at a Bigfoot for protection? Would you run out because other Bigfoots might come help? That's the thing that people talk about a lot. If you shoot a Bigfoot, will the other ones come and attack you? I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. You think of like the Ape Canyon incident. They had shot at one of these things, claimed to have actually hit it, and apparently one like fell down a cliff. Well, that night is when the incident really happened, when all the Sasquatch came and attacked the cabin. That's probably one of the only actual like documented records that I can think of right now where they actually do that, where they come in force and like, I don't know if they would have actually killed anyone or if they were just terrorizing them. It's hard to say, but they all made it out of there alive. I don't know. I feel like I would only shoot at a Bigfoot if I felt like I was being grabbed, like if I was going to be taken. Ben's channel is called 401 Files. If you go onto my main YouTube page, it'll come up there as like one of the channels that I like or something. It should, anyways. If anyone could locate the Honabi, okay. Whenever I read this word Honabia or Honabi or whatever it is, I like don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm probably butchering it. Would I go there? Yeah, I would. I don't know if there's any recent activity, but that's a really well-known Bigfoot encounter, the siege of Honabi or whatever. That was a big one. Look that up too. I made a video about it. That was investigated by the BFRO and they didn't even know what to do. I'm assuming your name is pronounced Zavi. Thank you so much for the donation. Do you think Sasquatch are a type of Native American tribe? I mean, they could be a tribe of some kind. Like, they're native to the area, obviously, but they're not human beings. But they could definitely be a tribe. The most interesting thing, actually, is if you look into the Nahanni Valley in the Northwest Territories, the Nahanni Valley has so much lore and a lot of stories of other tribes. They have stories of like cannibal tribes, stories of like Sasquatch type tribes. That area is like, that's one of my dream destinations to go do this stuff. Like, it's hard though, because a lot of that area is super protected and you can't even go into like some of these areas without guides as part of like a guided tour or expedition or whatnot. Lots of stories from the north. Hammerson Peters wrote that book, Legends of the Nahanni Valley, I think he called it. And I had reviewed it a while back. Excellent, excellent book. Go on YouTube, search Hammerson Peters, or on Facebook or wherever. You can find this book. There's a lot of cryptid stuff in there. There's stuff that is not related to Sasquatch. There's pretty much every cryptid that it is said to exist in the north is in this book. Very, very interesting. Brooklyn Wolf, thank you for that donation. Roughly how much is needed for an expedition? Less or more than 5K USD. You already got the gear, but what about supplies? Okay, so I did a GoFundMe for this big expedition I'm doing, and I think in the end we got 7,000 Canadian dollars or something to do it. And so money from that is put aside for food, for time to actually be out in the bush, and editing time, also marketing, music licenses, like all that kind of stuff. So there's like all those production costs and then the equipment costs, and then like the Land Rover I bought, that actually came out of my own pocket. So this Land Rover wasn't even originally part of the plan. I initially wanted to just like be able to hike in there or maybe take a helicopter in there. But in the end, if I have this, like, this Land Rover is a big investment for me, I'll be able to use it on this trip and then on every other trip. So it's going to be like, I'm very excited about this. And this Land Rover is my favorite vehicle. Like, I'm weird in that my dream vehicle is like an old beater vehicle. Like, the old Land Rover Discoveries and Defenders are my favorite vehicles. And I'm very grateful that I was able to find a really good deal on one. But yeah, like for big expeditions like that, like it really depends on what you want to bring and what you want to do. But for this expedition, there's a lot of costs, and we we raised like 7,000 Canadian dollars, and that, because I bought the Land Rover, it didn't cover it, but if I didn't get the Land Rover, it would have covered it. Yeah, it just depends how long you want to go, what kind of gear you want to bring, what kind of new things you want to try. A guy could go out into the bush for a week with like minimal gear if he wanted to. It wouldn't really cost anything other than food and fuel. But if you're making a big production out of it, like if you're making a film, that's when it starts costing money, because then you got to do all like the marketing and the media stuff, and like that stuff can be expensive, and the music licenses. It's crazy. Like the Small Town Monsters guys, when they are doing, like, they'll do their Kickstarters in like a batch. It'll be like a Kickstarter for like 3 different films, and they'll raise like 100 grand, like Canadian dollars. And it's like, wow, that is very expensive. Like I wonder what each film actually costs. You know, they probably cost quite a bit. They have a big crew, and they travel a lot, so it's probably super expensive. Mr. Hobbs says Hammerson Peters has a YouTube channel. Yeah, he does. He's got some great stories on there. His videos actually do really well, and they're very well put together. So I'd recommend going to his channel and definitely subscribing, because he, every now and then, he'll put out a really good video. Squatching Cowboy says those old Land Rovers are tough as a tank. They are. They really are. And the cool thing about them that I like is they're almost like a tractor, in that like you can just work on it yourself. Everything is very accessible under the hood for the most part, and it makes it really easy if you're out in the field and need to make a repair. As long as you have parts with you, certain spare parts, you could fix it out in the bush. And that was one of the main reasons why I got it. Plus the deal was amazing. It was like 4,000 Canadian dollars for this Land Rover Discovery, and it came with a lift in it, a really good lift. It was like $1,000 lift kit, and then it came with like $1,000 winch bumper and some other upgrades. And it's like, wow, like half the work is already done on that thing. And I think it'll do well. It'll be perfect to drive out to the Ruby Falls area where I'm doing this expedition looking for the cave. It'll be perfect, because there have been a few times where I've been out in that area, and people have had these old Land Rovers, and they actually drove them all the way to the waterfalls there. Cliff says he has a 96 Land Rover. You're having UFO activity too? That'd be interesting if you were. Yeah, my Land Rover's a 96. It's the rare manual transmission version. Any thoughts on the Sasquatch Ontario channel? He says, "I'll stop asking the same question." A lot of people are very like skeptical of Sasquatch Ontario. All I can tell you is that a researcher that I know went to his property, or like, I don't know if it's his property. I don't know what the deal with who owns it, but they went to this research area, and they told me that he was definitely having actual legit activity happen. I didn't hear this from the Sasquatch Ontario guy myself. I heard this from somebody who was there, who I actually trust. And they said, yeah, like there was stuff going on like when I was there. That's what they said. So I don't know. And yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a super nice guy. Yeah, actually Keenan, I'm pretty sure Keenan from the Alberta Sasquatch organization designed his webpage. And so they've had a lot of interaction. Seems like a nice, honest guy, to be honest. Like, I can't really say anything bad. Have you ever considered searching for Sasquatch on horseback? I have, because I feel like if a guy went out into the bush on horseback with a 16mm motion picture camera, the same way like Patterson and Bob Gimlin did it, you might have way better odds. You're moving quietly. Sasquatch must be used to horses. They must be used to them, because in Nordeg, the population of wild horses is astounding. There are so many of them. And this population of wild horses, they live exactly where the Alberta habituation site is. So they're very comfortable with them, and they must be super familiar with horses. So I think it'd definitely be worth going in on horseback. I have no experience with that, by the way, which is why I haven't done it. I am terrified of horses. I don't know anything about them. I wish I had those skills, but I just don't. Cliff, you're gonna have to send me an email after about these Land Rover parts, because I am still looking for a few parts for it. Does camouflage work with Bigfoot or no? That is a good question. I feel like probably not. I feel like they would, like, I don't know. It's tough. Like, I feel like they would sense you anyways. Like, you can't be you can't trek through the wilderness without them knowing you're there. I don't think. Like, you'd have to have that invisibility cloak from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets to not be detected by them. I don't know if camouflage works or not. That's something we can't verify. You can just guess. But people have experiences with Sasquatch in normal clothes, like regular people going out hiking in the wilderness. They have encounters with Sasquatch. I don't think you need to, you know, dress up like a tier 1 operator when you go looking for Bigfoot. Though sometimes we like doing that because it's fun. It's just like, it's almost better to go out dressed like a normal person because they don't think you're up to something, right? They're not suspicious of you. If you dress in camouflage, they might think you're like a hunter or something like that, and they might not want to come around. I went half an hour over the limit. I said I was going to do an hour, so we're going to stop it at an hour and a half. But we're going to be doing these live shows more often. I want to get more used to them because honestly, they're kind of nerve-wracking. I get kind of nervous doing them. It's hard to come up with stuff to say when you got a bunch of people watching and you you don't know what to do, and then you got to pause and like read all this stuff. But as time goes on, I'll probably get more used to it. I'll probably get better at it, and eventually all the questions will get answered. It's honestly very, very difficult to go through these questions because they keep coming up, and then you lose track, and it's like, holy crap. But anyways, I want to say thank you very much for joining me on this live stream, the second ever Mountain Beast Mysteries live stream. I hope it was all right, and like I said, I hope they get better. Carl says, I think they like weed. I think they probably do. Well, I'll say one more thing about like on that subject. When I was out on Vancouver Island, I did a whale watching tour. When I was in Tofino, I booked a whale watching tour. We went onto this boat, and just as a joke, I asked the captain of the boat. I said, "Yo, like, you ever heard any like weird Sasquatch stories?" And he's like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude." He turned around. He's like, "Yeah, I got a lot." And he said that the local indigenous people in that area believe that the Sasquatch can connect somehow to the mycelial network, which is the fungal network that exists like in the forest floor all around the world. It's like essentially it's the internet for plants. Like, you know how the internet is like a web, like of, I don't even know what the internet is. Like, what even is the internet? But the mycelial network is like a network of fungi, and like it's in like the root systems and whatnot, and like plants and trees can communicate with each other. They think the Sasquatch can connect to this, and that is what allows them to be able to sense everything, to sense when there's a person here or there, and it helps them survive. Basically, how do they connect to the mycelial network? I don't know. The only thing I can think of is they do psilocybin mushrooms, which coincidentally grow naturally in the rainforests of British Columbia. So that's something to think about. Brooklyn Wolf, you gotta stop sending me donations. When you're done with the next expedition, hit me up. Like to contribute a decent portion for an Adirondack. Dude, like that would be very generous. Like that, I don't know how I would be accepting something like that. So just keep that in mind. I get sketched out when people contribute a lot to the channel, because then I feel like if nothing happens, I'm like letting people down. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for joining. I'm gonna get off the stream here. I'm gonna end it, and I hope you guys watch like all the latest videos I've been making. Keep watching the UFO stuff, please, and it would mean the world to me if you guys shared these UFO clips on like Facebook and everywhere. Like, people need to see this stuff. This is actual stuff that's happening that I don't know what's going on. So please, like, share it when you're done watching this live stream. Share the UFO videos wherever you can, and maybe people will look and they'll be like, hey, dude, like I saw this thing too. Because there's actually a CE5 group here in Edmonton, and they've been seeing weird stuff as well. And, it's fascinating. So that would really help out the channel. That's the best thing people could do is share the content. Like, it's even better than making donations. Just share the content and get it out there and help grow this thing. But thanks so much, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see you next time on Mountain Beast Mysteries.